malicious document. It's a big headache, right? And tell me honestly, how you are basically analyzing any malicious document which is coming to your way via any incident? Are you uploading them like VirusTotal, AnyRun, those kind of sandbox? It's a big no for you guys, because dumping directly the files to all those online sandbox can risk your organization reputation to a big blunder. Because if it is a targeted attack and if you are uploading the files directly to them, so people gonna know that your organization have been targeted, right? So you never should do that. So in today's episode we are starting from scratch. I will show you if there is a malicious document, how you can capture the low-hanging fruits, how you can extract the IOCs, how you can understand what are the TTPs of it, and probably take all the actions that you need. Okay, and via doing that we will also see what are the steps and how basically you can utilize the all of the tools that we have built in our last DFIR episode. So it's everything covered and it is basically from scratch, and we are starting right now. So first thing first, this is the actual malicious sample and malicious Word document that could have come you from like a phishing email, or if you are analyzing any kind of stuff. Now the first thing what we can do, like we do not know if the file is like having any kind of macros or VBA, that kind of stuff is enabled inside that. Okay, so there is a tool in Remnex. So this is our Remnex virtual machine, which tool name is Ole VBA. Okay, so if you just press Ole VBA, it will give you all the details like how basically you can use this particular tool and what are the other features that you can use about this tool. Okay, so now what the basic things that we are actually we are trying to do over here. Let me clear up my screen quickly over here, and we are going to analyze this particular file using Ole VBA. Okay, so the file name starts with rep, so I'll quickly start up with that. Now this particular tools exactly tells you from the how many types of VBA is enabled on that, like there are, if there is anything like macros that is enabled. Now if you see that there are VBA strings starting from this particular OLA stream, these are the typical macros that has been already enabled in this particular like Word document. Okay, now by using this particular tool you can analyze any kind of Word document, and if there is anything like attached file, anything suspicious is already there in that particular document, you can analyze that. Okay, so now if I go to the bottom of it, now this is a structured summary, guys. So this tool is selling that from analyzing the base64 string, hex string, and the parameters that particularly this tool is analyzing, this file is already suspicious. Okay, so we know that the file is already suspicious. Now if you want to go deep dive and want to understand that what is the exact region of it, so Ole VBA tool gives you that details also, like what is the particular region which actually is suspicious, which is like related to the entropy, which is so these are the particular basic macros that is been enabled onto on this particular thing. Okay, so this is almost like you can get like exactly the static parameter of it. Okay, so now we know at some point of time this particular thing is malicious. Okay, now what exactly we can do at this point of time, so let me fire up my terminal once again. So side by side what I am also doing, so I am having my Windows 10 VB running. So if you haven't watched out like what are the tools that I'm gonna use, so I have made one particular video to set up the lab, so feel free to use that. I'll leave the link in the description and the I button as well. So these are all the same tools. In the previous video I used a Windows 7 VM, but this is a Windows 10 current VM, so I wanted to show you guys what exactly happened in Windows 10. Okay, so the first step while we are doing that kind of thing, the first thing is that I'll open up my network sharing connection. So this machine is not having the network connectivity. Okay, so I'll go to the network and sharing center over here just to show you that what are the Ethernet connection that I am working on. If I go to the properties here quickly, and if I go to the IPv4, so see DNS server, I am routing to the IP address of my Remnex or like my DFIR workstation. So if I do a quick if config over here, you will see the IP address is 103. Okay, so I want to route every DNS traffic to that machine. Okay, so I have explained in my past video as well. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fire up inet sim on this particular VB, like this particular virtual machine, so that I am faking my DNS service and all those stuff like SMTP. If there is any malicious communication, will be going to that, so that will be routed to my this machine, which is Remnex. Okay, and one thing also I can do side by side, I can fire up Wireshark, which can actually give you the what are the traffic, what are the things that is getting communicated. Okay, but for that reason I do not need Wireshark, because anyway since all of the DNS communication that will be happening will be captured in my inet sim. Okay, when I'll kill the inet sim, there will be a file. I can open that file and I can analyze that. Okay, so the next thing, so inside that I'll close this sucker off, and I do not need this because at that already established. Okay, so this is the file, guys. So I have opened it in Word file, but see that I haven't enabled the content. Okay, so this machine is a fresh build and I will be working on this particular Word file. Okay, so but before even doing that, what exactly I need to do, I will be opening up my Fiddler. So Fiddler is a a powerful tool which can intercept your connection, like which where your connection is going from your machine, to which locations the connections are going. All those stuffs are getting populated over here. Now if you see that, these are the basic communication which is Fiddler itself is communicating. Okay, and these are some 200 response are coming because GLive.com 433, because I am running a fake DNS service in my Remnex workstation, right? So I am getting some 200 result, and 404 because it is not able to get the actual content back, but it is resolving. It is not a server side error. Okay, it is a client side error that is I am getting off. Okay, so now the purpose is, whenever I file up this particular enable content, whatever the traffic DNS communication is going on, I want to capture it over here. Okay, so now what else also I need, I will fire up Procmon, because I need to capture what are the processes that is getting triggered whenever I fire this particular this particular enable content. I enable this particular thing. I want to know whatever the connections, whatever the communication is happening on this particular machine. Okay, so it is like that. Now the next step, it is starting, guys. So I am starting to analyze this particular file. I could have opened process hacker also, but I do not need at this point of time for this particular sample analysis. So I'll go to enable content. Okay, so I'll click this particular sucker here. I'll go enable content. Okay, so now something is happening. This is executing at the back end, and if I just come here and if I just put a close tab onto it over here, so in between, like it will take some time, maybe within 1 or some minute, you will see that there will be some communication going. You see this communication is going, guys. So you see these are the this is one malicious IP address, this is one IP address, and this is also like beach.o some. So these are some domains which is basically getting queried. Okay, now if you see here, if you come here to this particular section, you will see this process is looks like to be a PowerShell process, right? So it is giving you the actual process name as well, right? PowerShell process. Okay, so at this point of time, if I go back to my Procmon, what I can do, I can quickly do a Control T. So Control T will open up the process tree. Okay, now the process tree has been opened over here. So I don't need this particular sucker anymore. I'll close this particular thing off, and I can stop the process because this process monitor as well, because it keeps on accumulating huge number of backend things, backend stuff. Okay, so that's gone. Okay, so now the process, it was captured already. Okay, so one thing is also for sure, what we can also do now, if we go back to this particular thing over here, if I just kill this particular inet sim process, so you see this particular thing has been spawned up. Okay, So now what we can do, we can copy this particular thing up. Okay, so let me clear up my screen, and I want to open it with gedit. Okay, gedit, and I want to open that particular file. Just want to show you that what are the DNS communication is went through for this particular machine. Okay, so you see these are the domains that has been queried from my Windows machine after running that particular, after enabling that particular macro file basically. So these are the DNS communication went through from my machine. Okay, so that confirms that these are the obvious sets of IOCs that you can capture. Okay, and what else we can capture? Okay, so we will go back to the Windows 7 and we will see whatever the process were there in that particular PowerShell which was triggered basically this all this DNS communication. Okay, so we are back at the process tree page now. As I told you, right, so it was something like PowerShell process. Now if you just open this particular window, you will see that this particular PowerShell exe, so these processes are live. Okay, now this process has been exited from the memory. So there is a WinMe process which is the parent process of it, the PowerShell.exe. This process was responsible for triggering all those communication. Now if we go back to that fiddler, you will see that this particular process ID has the same process ID, right? It is 6736, and this particular sucker has also 6736, right? Now if you see this particular thing over here, you will see that the PowerShell window, it is hidden, and there is a a branch which is calling some kind of gibberish variable, right? So \w and then hidden means there is a PowerShell that has been opened by backend, but you will not be able to see any screen flashing or something happening because it was hidden. Okay, the property was hidden. Now if you see the process ID of it, so it was started at this point of time and it is exited from the memory at this point of time, right? So this is the user. Now what we can do, we can probably check this particular sucker off just to identify whatever this thing is happening and whatever this particular thing was doing. Okay, so for this reason we will simply copy this particular thing off and we will go back to our DFIR workstation over here and we will fire up chef. Okay, the Shiver chef. So Shiver chef is, as I have used in past as well, so it is the best recipe and it is the best place to cook your recipe, right? Okay, so here I will close this off window because I don't need this window anymore. So I'll close this particular sucker off and yeah, close terminal. So bear with me because my system is a little bit slow because I am running multiple things simultaneously. So now CyberChef is loading, so we will simply use some kind of recipes, and by looking at this particular input over here, this particular thing looks like to be like hex, something like bake64. So we will use a bake64 recipe to identify what the hell is going on over here. Okay, so now if we see that nothing much has been changed over here, right? So we will use some other recipes onto it, and now let's see what this particular thing is revealing to us. So after adding the recipe of from base64, you can see the code is some kind of readable. So now if we if we see this particular code a little properly, so you will see that there are multiple dots, those are coming into this particular thing. Okay, so what we can do, it looks like to be a something like null byte. So we can remove the null byte from the code, so we can add another recipe. So now you see this particular thing is taking some kind of structure right over here, but this thing needs to be separated by new line, or needs to be separated by any kind of semicolon and stuff like that, because you see there are semicolons over here. Okay, so there are also one recipe that you can apply. We can apply a split recipe over here. So let me add it up in a split. So the first parameter that I'm gonna add is semicolon. So now after adding the semicolon, you will see that there are some kind of things are already coming up over here, right? So you will see that these things are already important for us. Okay, so now if we want to identify what are the URLs and what are the other stuffs is already present into this particular thing, what we can do, we can create a regular expression over here. We can tag the regular expression back to his here, and probably we can take the URL maybe, and we can identify that case insensitive, do not match all, display total, and all those stuffs we can. So anyway, so you can see that so the URL is being highlighted over here, right? So we can output this over here as list matches, so that can give you the hint of whatever the URLs is basically present it over here. Now if you see this particular thing off, you will see that this particular thing is having the star and asterisk symbol. Okay, so we can do a probably another split up. So let me add another split recipe over here. So if I add another split over here, so I have added another split recipe over here, and in this particular page, instead of comma, I will add a star over here. Okay, now if I add a star, you will see that all of the URLs that was being highlighted in this particular phase has been given to you. Okay, so these are my obvious IOCs that I need to refer, and these are probably the same IOCs that I have also identified from Fiddler. Okay, so now what else also we can do, probably if we just want to remove this particular thing off, I just want to remove this regular expression. Now you will see that there are some kind of structural code also over here. Okay, so these are also something, the structure code over here is coming. So if you want to get the hint of it, and whatever the code that is present over here, inside that you will see some other stuffs are also happening here. Okay, so you see there is an exe option. Okay, so let me open up a quick notepad over here, and let me show you what are the things that exactly is available over here. Okay, so yeah, so this is my notepad now, and now you will see that this particular thing is over here. There is a variable, some kind of stuff, and it is getting replaced by this particular string over here. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply replace this particular sucker off with this particular string, and we can remove this particular thing off. Okay, so and again you will see that these are the enumerating strings. Okay, so these are getting reflected, and you will see that these are the basic features of just to bypass the AV detections. Okay, so there is nothing else. Okay, so new object creation, and it is creating basically a new object, and you will see these are the IOCs anyway that we have identified over here, right? So and what else is also there? So if you try to identify it over here, so you will see this dollar, this particular page, so this is referring to this particular section, right? So environment variable and this particular sucker off, right? So you can replace this particular thing off with this particular string pattern, and what else, where else, there also, right? So that means this particular sucker is actually giving you some kind of hint that using your current URL user profile, it will try to drop one particular malicious code into your into your arsenal or your machine, which is actually named by 267.exe. Okay, so you can this is another IOC, right? Now depending on this IOC, you can hit back your antivirus solution, EDR solution, whatever you have in your environment to catch this particular threat. Okay, so yeah, so that's probably everything that you need to do whenever you need to identify any kind of similar kind of structure or similar kind of malware or something is coming up to your way. It could be coming up from phishing, it could be coming up from anything, that doesn't really matter, but these are the very, very basic steps that you guys can follow. And I hope how basically I have created the lab and how you have basically used this particular tool in correlation is somehow clear to you now. So yeah guys, so that's all I had to share for this particular episode, and by now I hope you at least know somehow that how you can basically use this tool to triage any of the document which could be malicious, which could be coming to your way via any means of incident, and you can at least analyze and identify what are the basic IOCs that are involved in your incident. Okay, and you do not need to dump your file to any kind of online for that matter tools online like VirusTotal, AnyRun, because there is always a risk to directly dump the file directly to all those tools, right? Because if it is a targeted attack, people will know that your organization has been attacked by this kind of attackers, right? So it is always always better to have some kind of sandbox environment to your network, so that like the way I have performed this particular incident analysis, this particular triage of this document, you guys can also do. Okay, so yeah, that's all. And before even leaving, I hope you have enjoyed the session. So if you have enjoyed the session, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe Black Pearl, because that is very important, and turn on the bell notification so that whenever I upload a new video, every time that gets populated to your stream. Okay, that's all. I'll catch you guys next time. Stay healthy, stay safe.